So since we talking about it, since we talking
Yes.
about men and women,
Yes.
Uh-oh.
can we talk about the disconnect between men and women and like how to
Yes.
like mend the relationship? Because I feel like it's always like battle of the sexes,
Yes.
like especially on social media, like just in the
Mm-hmm.
world period. Like I ain't gonna hold you, even right now, just not too long ago, I'm like, yeah, because I understand how men have heart. You like, yeah, and the women too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why
Right.
are we
Right.
doing that?
Just
Like, it's
it's
always like
word.
some type of battle, like, who had it worse or who
Mm-hmm.
has it worse, or like, your struggle is not as worse than mine. Like, you know what I mean? It's just some sort of disconnect. And I feel like that's why divorce rate is high. I feel like that's why so many baby mamas and baby daddies and multiple baby mamas and baby daddies and like the nuclear family unit is almost non-existent a little bit in this generation, because it's like we pent up against each other. Like, do you know, or what would you say that came from, and then how would we mend that? Like,
I think some of it came from what we was talking about earlier, the
yes.
Mm-hmm.
historical
Sort. Mm-hmm.
cases.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
we don't really consider the impact that slavery and segregation had on us. And once
Mm.
again, when I say these things, I don't want to say them in terms of this is the excuse for men today to
Oh
do what
yeah,
we do.
absolutely. We
Yeah.
understand.
But all of that plays a part because it's been
Mm-hmm.
passed down generation to generation. So in a sense, here's what we got. We have some men that aren't sure
Mm-hmm.
about their place in society, sure about their place in the family unit that they're in. You got some men who have mama, auntie, grandma, they were the people who led the family,
Mm.
in a lot of cases. Now, what a lot of men don't see is that there's reasons why that happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's reasons why grandmom is
Mm-hmm.
why grandmom is who she is. There's
Yep.
reasons why mom is the way she is. And
Mm.
a lot of times we don't see the
Yeah.
backstory. So
Yeah. That's very true.
the relationship that we have with those women oftentimes will indicate how we respond to the other women in our lives.
Mm.
In sometimes, not
Right.
every situation, but in some situations that's what we do. We sort of recreate the relationships we had with mom and with auntie and grandma. If those were good relationships, if those were healthy relationships, then maybe we bring that into our relationships.
Yeah.
If they were not healthy,
Mm-hmm.
then we go based on what we know, and either we're going to learn how to change,
Mm-hmm.
or we're just going to continue to pass that on. I had a conversation with one of my clients who he was talking about his son and some things that had been things that he had been taught as a black man, and I'm like, okay, I get that. I said, but I want you to take a look,
Mm-hmm.
because you have not recreated those same problems
Mm-hmm.
that you had from the lack of no fathers,
Right.
no men that stepped up. Now he's impacted by that, but the point I said, you have been able to produce a son that seems to be well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
The point is that, once again, it goes back to responsibility. It's a whole historical stuff, but it's current responsibility. Do we want to do better? Do we want to learn how to do better? So do we want to learn how to talk to the women in our lives differently
Right.
than how we talk to them now? Because obviously some of the ways we talk to them are not effective. It's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Me screaming and yelling at you, and yeah, no, all I've done is alienated you, because now you ain't really trying to hear what I
Right.
want to say.
Right. Right.
So the challenge is, are we willing, are we ready to try to do something? And that's really, so I don't know. I know I'll try to make sure I'm answering that question, but I think that's the start of it. We have to be able to hear each other. We really
Mm-hmm.
got to be able to listen
Understand.
and to understand. And I got to be able to accept the fact that my reasoning, the reason why I'm thinking, and
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I'm taking the stance that I'm taking might be logical to me,
Mm-hmm.
might make sense to me, but it might not be logical to everybody else around, and especially the woman in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
have to listen.
That is so true. With understanding, I feel like it's a huge part of it because at the end of the day, men need women and women need men.
Period.
That's how we were designed. That's how we are built. That's how we are going to rule the world. Like we need each other.
Yeah.
So the separation is so damaging, and that's when dysfunction come in because we need each other.
Right.
And it goes to understanding, like what you said back to like the mom part, like your mom and stuff. Like people may be like, let me see, I don't even want to get like too detailed, too personal. But like, how can I say it without putting my own stuff in it? I don't think you really can. I'm going to just say for men who have like issues with their moms. You know what I'm saying? You have issues with your moms, but you're not, like you said, you don't understand why your mom's like that. Like you might, for instance, I talked to a guy, it's not my situation, but I met a guy who would be like, my mom would beat me and all this stuff. And it's just like, you were challenging to do it. You were a difficult teenager and your dad wasn't around. But you don't give your dad that leeway. You take it out on women. You like, oh, I can't stand women who might be like this or might be like that. Or my mom was like this or my mom. But your mom had a lot to deal with.
Exactly.
And it's just like.
And not even that, she's raising a boy. So
by
her
herself.
beating you is like, in her mind, thinking, this is the only way that she know, clearly. So that's what she's doing, thinking that this is going to save you from making all the bad mistakes that she's trying to prevent you from making. So let me try to beat that out of him so he won't do it. Because a lot of parents think fear is what's going to stop, you know, what's going to get them connected to their kid. Like, okay, if I put enough fear in them, then they won't do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And most of the time, it's respect. If I respect you enough, then like I hear that little voice in the back of my head every time I do whatever. I'm like, damn, I don't want to let my mom down. Let me just go the fuck home. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then sometimes people is going to make mistakes. Like sometimes people just got to learn. And it's like, that's okay too. But like back to your point of saying like, you only seeing your mom do X, Y, and Z. You like being this way, so now you have this strained relationship with women. And also when you had mentioned something too, like seeing your mom and your grandma or whatever lead the household, so you bring that into a relationship. So I had seen something on Instagram, one of these social medias, which is also a part of the problem. But I had seen something on social media that was like, a guy said something like guys would be like, my mom was a single mom. She raised 4 kids by herself. She worked 2 jobs and she kept the house clean. She cooked every night. Like, so I don't know what y'all complaining about. But it's like, you think that's the life that we want?
Exactly.
You think we want to be a single mom, raising 4 kids, working 2 jobs, still coming home cooking and cleaning by ourselves? You think that's the life that we want?
Ideal.
So because you've seen that, it's like, it's normalized. Again, back to like the normalized thing. Like, that's a normal thing. So like, what you complaining about? Baby, it's not normal for me. I want a soft life. That's not the life that I desire. Like
that load is heavy. That load is
very heavy, and you don't even see how heavy it was because you're fortunate enough for where she didn't put her struggles and her issues on you. She's chalked it up to the game and did what she needed to do. But that don't mean that it wasn't heavy, baby. You just never seen it.
And see, and that's such a good point because when you're talking about the mother single mom for boys, and when I moved from North Carolina up to Philly, I lived with my mom. You know, and there was, you know, stepdad, I guess. I call him a stepdad, but you know, my mom never got married, so we call him dad. But anyway, but mom was the one that handled. Mom was the one that took care of everything, and I mean, my mom awesome. Now, what I will say is, did I always understand her? No.
Right.
You know, did I always agree with her? No. Did that lead to some battles? Of course it did. Years later, what I had to recognize, and then kind of leading back to what you guys are saying, I had to understand what that actually meant. When my mom, we got into some deep conversations, and I began to see what my mom had to go through. My mom was a teenage mom. You know, she was 16 when I was born. You know? And she didn't have the greatest supportive parents. My grandparents seemed to treat me okay, but her and her parents were not good. That played over into everything she went through. Now, my mom took care. She made sure we weren't hungry or nothing like that. But I'm pretty sure, and not even pretty sure, talking to my mom, I know that's not what she wanted. She adjusted to it, and she adjusted pretty well. with issues here and there, but that wasn't what she wanted.
Yes.
That's not what you guys want. That's not
Yes.
most women I think most women, I can't, I'm not a woman, I don't know, but I think that most women that have children are not planning to do this thing by themselves.
Never planning. We don't wake
No.
up like let's just do it all. Put it all on me. I
Yeah.
got it. No.
Unless you go down to the sperm bank and be like,
Oh yeah.
I want to create my own kid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, you literally went and planned that yourself.
Okay.
But if
Yeah.
you go sleep with someone else and
Mhm.
this is what comes out of that,
Mhm.
9
Yeah.
times out of 10, you're not planning to do this alone because I did it with you. So
Mhm.
clearly I wasn't trying to do it alone. I just would have went to sperm bank.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Like, so I don't know where the disconnect comes from, but well,
Yeah.
But I think
Generations.
I think the disconnect comes from the roles that women have in the family, roles that men have in the family.
Yeah.
I think some of that is historical,
mhm.
you know, and I think that, you know, if grandmama's always been the one that's been saying like, like if grandmama was the one that was running everything, and then
Mhm.
mama, you know, guys kind of felt like they weren't able to.
Mhm.
With that being said, though, that was, I think, part of the problem. So we really didn't see healthy male role models.
Mhm.
Let's be honest. We might have saw males, but they weren't all healthy. But
Mhm.
so I
Mhm.
think we got to get to a point where we recognize we're not each other's enemies.
Yes.
We have to understand. And I think the
Yes.
only way that
That's
we can
so big.
understand, and get to a point where we're not each other's enemy is to understand, start to listen to what each other is saying.
Yes.
You know, I need to hear what you're
Communication.
saying. I need to, you know, I need to
Effective communication.
recognize that it's not about me.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's not always about me.
Mhm.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
and if I can understand that it's not always about me, then I can begin to realize that, okay, I need to make some changes too.
Yep.
But I think we're so geared up to not hear, and then it doesn't help. Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, you know, grown people,
Mhm.
you know, get on Facebook and be saying, well, I can't stand such and such and such and
Yeah,
such. And then, or they'll say, y'all just pray for me. I can't tell you right now, just pray for me. What the hell is that? You gonna tell me? You gonna tell me to pray for you?
But you ain't
but
gonna
you
tell
ain't
me
gonna tell me what
why.
I'm praying
Oh
for.
my
You know?
God.
No, they'll be like, no, stuff is going on. No questions. No questions asked.
Oh,
Why
okay.
you
Sick of
gonna
that.
put that up
Sick of
there?
that content.
Why are you gonna put that up there?
Right.
Now, so, but once again, and then, you know, people will argue, going back and forth. Well,
That'd
he
be the
did this, or you did this, and you did that.
The blame
Pointing,
game.
yes.
Mhm.
And social media has made things worse. Now, social media is good. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but it's made
It has its
things-
benefit.
It has its benefits. We're here today. And
Hey,
this is a
right.
benefit,
Okay.
Yes.
But there's aspects of it where grown people just start to act really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just can't do that.
Yep. And sometimes we have people have these huge followings and they influence, but you gotta be careful who you're listening to, because if you listen to
Mhm.
somebody that's just like women, or men,
Yeah,
down,
yeah.
it's just turn the channel. Or but it's
Mhm.
social media is really designed for program. It's really programming us to whatever, you know.
You tuning
We're-
into. So
we're
you
not
gotta
there.
clean that timeline up.
And you got to clean yourself, because if you want to keep hearing negative stuff, that's what's going to keep popping up.
We're not each other's enemy.
We're not.
Yes.
We're
We're
not.
not
We really
each
do
other's
need each other
enemy.
in
Yeah,
every
we-
way.
Mhm.
In every way we
Mhm.
do. And that's
Exactly.
why our households are like that.
Mhm.
And then, you know,
Yep.
outside of the cultures, their households are ran how their households are. And they, you know, they be like,
Mhm.
oh, I want to go switch to another, you know, ethnic.
Things are not gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, there's the whole thing about like, do we date inside?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Just like you run from fixing your stuff, just fix your stuff. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it, because, you know.
and what social media misses is the
Dr.
reality
Umar
that,
would never.
like
That's my man.
some people be like, okay, well, you know, dating a black man doesn't work for me. I'm dating a white man. Dating a black woman doesn't work for me. I'm gonna date a white woman. What I'm gonna say is that I think it goes deeper than that. 'Cause
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that if that's what you want to do, that's fine.
Right.
I ain't got an argument with you. What I will say is that some people think, well, all these black men are successful and they're marrying white women. Well, is that really the truth? And that's not necessarily the truth. The data would show otherwise. That most successful black men are marrying black women. The question, though, is what do we consider to be successful? Is successful like football, basketball, baseball, boxing successful, well-known
Entertainer.
successful, or is successful a person that's got a good job, working hard,
Emotionally intelligent.
you know,
It shows up.
that's what
Positive
I'm saying.
influence.
So positive influence. Yeah. So yeah. I hope I answered your question. I don't know if I answered your
Yeah.
question. or not.
But I also too, when we were saying like, people see different stuff, so they kind of like emulate what they see. But that is 100% true. But it's crazy because I know a lot of people who has like single moms, and like the mom was like the strong forefront of their family dynamic because she was the only parent there, and she was like holding everything down, and those men grow up to be like phenomenal fathers.
Yeah.
And it's like, she ain't gotta work, my lady ain't gotta work, I work hard to maintain like stability for my family. So it's like, yeah, a lot of times, like, you do what you know and what you see. But that's why I said that, like, you actually have to fight against the resistance, because it's always going to be resistance of you trying to do something different. So yeah, that could be the norm for you. However, it is possible to be like, no, I don't feel that don't feel normal to me. Like, yeah, it could have been the norm growing up, but it don't feel normal to me now as an adult, and I'm gonna do things differently, because I know a lot of men who has. I know a lot of men that's like come from single moms that are great fathers, just great men, period. Know how to treat women, know how to talk to women, very respectful. They covering the tab, like, or they also had like shitty fathers in the household that didn't have like a positive like influence of their life, but they still was like, that's something that I'm not going to be, and just do everything opposite of what their dad did.
Exactly.
So I mean, I don't know, but I do know that, again, we all do need each other. Men and women need each other. The yin, the yang. We need that to like function through life. And I think, it is like,
and to raise these kids up.
And to raise these kids to be like the best versions of themselves. And it's like, communication is key. We definitely gotta be able to listen to each other. And then also, while listening to each other, try not to like personalize it. Like, take you out of the scenario and just listen to what like the person has to say about whatever they're going through. Don't like internalize. I think a lot of times we internalize stuff just because from our own pain and like our own trauma. Like when people do certain stuff, or when they express themselves as to why they do it, or like how it ended up here. But it's like, opposed to try to negate the fact that like, yeah, you did that, but you could have did. Just hear them out. Let them say whatever they need to say. And it's just like, okay, well, are you happy with the choices that you made? Or like, are you going to do things differently? And let them answer. It don't have to be about you in any kind of way. Like, you know what I mean? I think taking those kind of steps, it's not going to be with everybody, but taking those kind of steps can like make it back to like a reflection type thing. Like, I'm just a mirror. I'm just going to show you. Like, I'm not going to input myself in it. I'm just going to show you what you're showing me, like what you're giving me. So I don't know.
I feel like in-person conversations, I feel like we should bring that back, because a lot of stuff is like text, social media, and it's just like, I feel like when you in person, for majority of people, when you in person, you have that contact, that
you can't fake it.
You can't fake it.
You can't fake it.
You can't hide behind, that barrier of
that
a phone.
damn phone.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times, just like, therapy is something just up front, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you have to hear this, you have to see this, you can't run. I mean, you can get up and leave if you want, but I feel like that in person is like needed for us to try to come on and bring it back, because the text is not always good, because you can write and I see that, and that person blocked or not respond or whatever, but
you can just fake it, I feel like. And you don't even gotta respond. You don't even gotta read it, open it.
Nope.
Or you can read it wrong.
Or you can read it wrong. That's the number one.
The biggest barrier.
Reading it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
In person is like, you got body language, you got facial expressions, you got tone, you have
energy,
all these things, energy, all of that. Yes.
Exactly.
You have all of those things in person that like, will actually make the conversation
Yeah.
mean something, opposed to behind the phone where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
You can
is
see
he
where
trying
I'm
to be
coming
the
from,
fuck
feel
smart?
it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can see where you can see and feel where
Yeah.
Where
I'm
I'm coming from,
Right.
like
That's a huge
I'm
barrier.
coming from a place of hurt. I'm not even cursing you out because like
Yes.
I'm being a bitch. Like my
Mhm.
feelings are hurt, and I'm trying to express
Mhm.
that to you, and you reading it like, oh, who she talking to? She thinks she about to curse me out. Like, no,
Yes, that's what
that's not
guys
even
always think.
the
Like,
mood right
they
now.
thinking they being attacked. That's not always attack. It's not
Yes.
about
Right
you.
there.
It's
That-
about me expressing about my feelings and where you went wrong, where I went wrong, and why we got to this place. I'm expressing how I feel.
That's
Mhm.
it.
That's
Mhm.
it. It's not even about you.
You
Like,
got a fan, we can fan her off because she's
She on fire.
yeah, she on fire right now. Okay, I'm just saying she on fire right now. But you on point, though.
yeah,
I'm
the
just saying you on point.
communication is a huge thing with us. And I
Yes,
feel like
it
for getting
is.
men and women back, we somehow have to get to that point where the communication is effective and the
Right.
communication is being heard and understood and just really working on ourselves. And I feel like that's where we go wrong for, like, you know, men and women and influence, you know, Instagram or friends and stuff. Because if I'm not happy, I'm not giving you no good advice. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know no good advice. If I did, I
That's
would
not
be-
in my world right
exactly.
now.
That's not my world.
And
Some
if you
people
don't like
can't
the person-
separate it.
Oh yeah, that's a
Because if
deep
you don't
thing.
like the
Woo.
person, that's the other thing. If you come to me about somebody that I don't even like
Mhm,
myself,
yep,
you know,
mhm.
I may
Not
not
give you-
want to
mhm.
give
I'm be
you.
biased.
Yes,
I'm gonna be
yeah.
I'm be
biased.
coming from the fact that I really don't want you to be with them. So
Uh-uh.
like, girl, leave him alone. It ain't gonna be like, well, you know, maybe y'all can try to couples counseling. It's gonna be given, girl, leave him alone. So sometimes you need to keep them girls out your business.
and the brothers that do the same thing. 'Cause
Oh
sometimes,
yes,
sometimes brothers will be
Right as
like,
kept.
Yeah,
because
so
sometimes
negative.
people will be saying stuff or say stuff, and they got their own ulterior motives. Because see, if
a lot of times,
if I break up with my girl,
Mhm.
you might like my girl. So I'm just saying, you know, things like that. People have their ulterior motives, but I mean, communication
Yes.
is really the key thing. I
Mhm.
gotta be able to hear what you say,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
gotta give you that space to say it, and I gotta be okay with myself to recognize that this is not a personal attack.
Yes.
This really is how you feel at this moment.
Yep.
Maybe I really did do something to really upset you, and I need to hear what you tell me so that maybe instead of me getting mad, I can recognize what I did wrong
Yes.
and not do it again. And when we
Yes.
can when we can understand that makes then that we have healthy conversation, you know, and we can work out a healthy plan to work out together. But if we can't, then we're going to keep going on that same rabbit hole.
And I always felt like that was like the regular thing to do.
What?
Like if you come to me and be like, oh, you know, when we was talking the other day, you had cut me off, whatever, and I was really trying to express what I was saying. It really made me feel away. Me being your friend and like care about how you feel is like whatever I did is not intentional. So it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I ain't know that happened. Like, I'm sorry, my bad. I make sure, like, you know, I'm more aware of what's going on, and we move forward.
There you go.
Sometimes
But
you-
nowadays,
Tough.
it's like you go to a person and you say whatever, and they like so defensive and just
Yes.
become combative. And it's like now we arguing because I'm
Yes.
telling you how I feel. Like, what the
Yep.
hell is going on right now?
I
Like, do you
don't
not
know.
care about me? If you hate me, just say you hate me because
I can't even tell you how
what's
I
going on?
feel.
I can't even.
Yeah. I can't
That's
even tell
so
you how
bad.
I feel.
And I feel like a lot of times it's because a lot of people be wanting to stay in like be like in victim mode. Like it's
Right.
always like somebody's doing this to them. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
that very
oh,
much could be true, but that's not in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Right.
not in this situation.
But a lot of times that's a good point. Victim mode. When we have had so much stuff that have happened to us that I automatically believe and just feel that you're getting ready to go off on me.
Right.
And that may not necessarily be the case. We have to be able to move from that victim mode to be able to just to hear, just to
Yes.
listen.
Yes.
You know, you really got to get to that place. But once again, this is what I'm going to say is the value of the relationship. Because if I value your relationship, I'm going to hear what you say.
Right.
Very true. Very
You guys
true.
are friends.
Right.
I'm sure y'all don't always like click on the same, but no friend ever does.
Right.
All
Right.
friends have moments when they might be, okay, yeah, I was thinking this, I was thinking that.
Right.
You know, but we don't end the friendship because we
Right.
value We value that friendship. We value what we have. And I know you well enough now that you're not going to tell me something to break me down. You're not going to tell
Right.
me, you're going to tell me the truth. Now, the thing that you tell me might be painful, but it's probably something I need to hear. You know, and you're not telling me to break me up and break me down, but you're telling me because you want to warn me about something or just something that just happened. You know, girl, I ain't like the way you made that spaghetti the other day. Something like that. I mean, it ain't always gotta be super serious.
Deep, right?
You know what I
It got
mean?
me
It ain't
that
gotta be
deep all the
deep,
time.
you know. But I'm just saying, but that's where we. So in terms of relationships, in terms of men and women in relationships, we got to be able to hear, to listen. And a
Yes.
lot of times we just don't allow ourselves to get to those places where we are listening for what the person is saying. They
Yeah.
hear the words that are coming out of your mouth, but they're not listening. So what that means for us then is we have to decide, do I want to still be with a person that doesn't listen to what I say?
Right.
And that becomes an individual thing, you know. And if this person is not going to listen to me,
Right.
then what do I need to do? How do I need to pivot? How do I need to adjust myself so I can make sure that, you know, I'm taking care of myself emotionally?
Right. And
Go ahead. boo.
I always try to say, if it's somebody like, you know, if somebody personal, like a friendship or a relationship, when I'm going into like saying it, I try to, you know, incorporate, I do love you. I love you. So, you know, I'm not coming from a bad place.
Malice. It's no malice.
It's none of that. So, you know, some people take it like, okay, I'm hearing you a little bit, but then some people just like, I don't give a fuck. You said what you said to me. Love or not, and it sound like love. But sometimes love can be uncomfortable.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Love can, you know, feel like, you know, I might be telling you about yourself, but it's coming from love. I want you to be better. If I'm sitting here and not telling you about yourself and I'm letting you crash out and burn in hell with the demons you bring, then, you know, that should be alarming that no one's telling you about yourself. But and then that's a whole nother thing, because a lot of people who do go into, you know, telling you about yourself be the people closest to you, and sometimes you burn them the most. And that's
All the time.
Listen, it makes me like, I don't want to say shit then.
Yeah.
I see you in hell.
Love sometimes can feel like an attack.
Yes.
But it only feels like an attack when you're not ready to receive the message.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And I feel like I always been the type of person that be like, I have like real relationships with people, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship. You know what I mean? It's like real. It's not like I don't do like phony or half-ass
Right.
shit. Like I don't. We either we good or we not, or we just not like friends. I won't call you a friend, but like you
Right.
cool, like on that type time. Yeah, you know. So recently I had a relationship that I was in. So I say that to say, like, I've never have a problem with apologizing. Like, if you come to me and tell me that, like, I did something or you didn't like something that I did, I'll have no problem with being like, I'm sorry. Because I'm never trying to set out to hurt you. So if in any way something that I did offended you or made you feel away, and you coming to me as my friend, I value the relationship. So I'm going to apologize and then, like, you know, change the behavior. But recently I had a relationship and I was not that girl. I was like, every time they would say something to me, I would be like, so defensive.
It happens, yep.
And I just could not understand like how I got here. But I think it was just like the energy in the relationship. Like there was no safe space. Like even if I was to come to and bring something to the table that bothered me, it was always like, what? You know, it's an argument. So I think I just like fell into that energy. So it was the same way. Like you bring something with me, now it's an argument too. And I'm so happy to like release that. So sometimes also you have to be aware of the people that you with and the energy that you getting yourself into. Like, cause all of these like value the fact that we need to value each other in the relationship between men and women and how we can like mend stuff. If the person that you're with, whether it's man or woman, if they're not ready to like go on like to get into a real relationship with you, and if they like still want to be combative about this or combative about that, or they in victim mode, have victim mentality where it's like no, you it's everybody else around them but them, then like now you got to be aware so you know when to step back. Not that you're a bad person, but I just think I don't think you're ready for what I'm ready for right now. So I'm gonna step back and hopefully you get the healing that you need, and then if it's meant, maybe God will circle us back around.
Sometimes it takes me years.
Yeah.
And they come back.
They may never come back. But if they
Yeah,
do,
might
you know what
not.
I'm saying? It's like, okay, cool. Hopefully you're healed now and we can try this thing again. But you got to be aware of yourself and like
Right.
aware of your limitations. You may not be able to handle that. So you got to know like when to step back out of something because it's not serving me. It's making me like I'm here and now I'm just coming down and I'm just getting lower and lower and lower in this relationship
Gotta
because
separate.
this person is like they dumping everything on me and I'm just catching it and not even catching it. I'm giving it back to him.
Oh,
Right.
But it's like, why? Just remove yourself from it. What are you fighting for? It's
Right.
not working. It's not and working for you. It's
Right.
not serving you no good. Like, yeah, we do want to have like mend these relationships, but relationships can only be mended when two parties are ready to do so. You can't be like going in this like I'm gonna save this person or I'm gonna change this person because you're gonna like
yourself.
you
Oh my
want to play
gosh.
yourself.
Woo.
Like it's
Yeah.
you gonna go from here
Yup.
to there to there to
Yup.
there to there, and now you don't even know who you is no more. Like
That's true.
it's like you didn't adapt to all this trauma that they have, brought into the relationship, or just the toxicity.
And demons that they be fighting, because demons is a real thing. I feel like people don't talk about that enough. But spirits, negative spirits, are really in your life. It come back from slavery as well. Stuff that was put on us for generations and generations, and we carry that with us. And there's really bad spirits around us. And then you might be around somebody, and we say energy spirits, whatever we say. You might be around somebody, you might be feeling most high, but when you leave that person, you just don't feel it.
Drain.
They
Drain. You
Yes,
just drain
they
emotionally.
An energy vampire. Like they just drain you.
And you may feel it and not even know where it's coming. It's just, wow, that person got my nerve. It's more than that. Sometimes you really have to be protected. You have to pray, and sometimes you have to just stay away. And I feel like that's a big thing. So we have to pray for each other. Like you said, men need women and women need men. If you know that person is truly not where they're supposed to be, or they are dealing with something, we got to get out of the position where we're just like, just dumping on them more. They already going through enough. They already dealing, they already waking up hard. It's already hard for them. They already depressed. We got to just learn to normalize praying for each other, because prayer do work.
It does.
And
you can pray from afar. You don't have to be with that person to
always put yourself
whatever.
First. Yeah, put yourself first.
But
Don't
you
keep
still
dealing
can
with
pray for them if you're not with them. You know what I mean?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
hard.
Especially if they wronged you.
Yeah, especially if we dealing with a kid, and it's just like, because sometimes I'll be like, listen, that boils something in me. Like, you playing with my child.
It's like, you deserve everything that comes to you.
Exactly. But if we really got to take ourselves out of that,
that's
and
ego.
like,
That's ego.
You know what? You already dealing with enough right now. You know what I'm saying? God, you already getting
I see your karma.
Stuff. Karma.
And it don't look good.
It don't look good.
It don't look good at all.
It don't.
It's about knowing when we need to step away, as you said. There are some relationships that we do have to step away from, for ourselves. You know, because that person, and it doesn't mean that person and you don't like kind of mend things later down the road. But for right now, you're bringing a certain type of energy to my spirit, which it's not working for me. In the Bible, it does say, how can two walk together except they be agreed? If people look at that different ways, but the reality is that if you and another person are in agreement with whatever it is that you guys are walking the same road. There's some continuity there. I think, when we talk about relationships, we have to look at this like, let's imagine you and your person, y'all go out, y'all go to this expensive restaurant. Let's say y'all get whatever y'all gonna get. The final bill is $150. So okay. So y'all look at the bill. He pays $50. You pay $50. So y'all did 50-50. The problem is that there's still $50 left, right?
Okay.
Still $50 left. So the point I'm making is that people want to give 50-50, but you got to give 100-100. Okay.
Right.
That 100-100 is going to look a little different.
Oh my God, Mr. Gary, yes.
Yeah. Let me say this too. This is going for men and women. in parenting. It's a huge thing that no one does, or you just don't care enough to do it, but you have to speak up. If I'm in a relationship with you and your kids aren't present, I'm going to wonder what's going on. And you can tell me anything under the sun. I don't give a damn. Go get your kid. Go do whatever you got to do. Vice versa. If I'm with you and, from, I can't say me in perspective. I don't really care about that right now. I'm just talking about for mine. For mine, for us.
You have to.
Yeah,
You
that's
have-
fine. Come
You
with
have
it.
to
Come
say
with
it. Say it.
I'm
Come
just
with
saying, you laid up with a chick. Where your fucking kids at?
And you know she a mom, but
you
she
know she a
just
mom.
always had free time. You not questioning like, well,
You not-
wait a minute.
you
Where the
laid
kids
up.
at?
Yeah, because you get some cool cat. It's cool, but it's really not. You gotta. If
Cool
you care
cat
about
is
that
crazy.
person, coochie. If you care about that person enough, or maybe you just don't, just stay away from them. But if you care about that person this much, you have to,
Right.
you have to, some red flags got to go on. Some alarms
I
got to go
agree,
on.
100%.
Because it's not okay that we sit in these next relationships and it's just like, where are your kids?
I agree.
You have to hold your partners accountable, whether you
To-
have kids with them
down
or
to
not.
kids, down to cheating, down to being respected, down to
Yeah.
courting, everything. Like
Right.
everybody has to take a stance. Like women,
Yes.
it's like if this is what we want from men, then we have to demand it through and through.
Yes.
We can't be like, all right, we're not tolerating this and that and that, and then she come in and she like, well, you could do that with me.
No,
Mhm.
no.
And then crying in your pillow when he leaves. But it's
In
like
your pillow.
you're not okay with it, but you okay with it
Yes.
when it's come to him. Like a
No.
pick me.
Mm-mm.
Like, sis, we're uniting. You gotta
Right.
play the
Yes.
part. So like you said, if you know that your man got kids and you never see him with the kids, you never hear nothing about the kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something in your mind needs to be like, let me hold him accountable
Or let me
because
hold her accountable.
Yeah.
vice versa.
Yeah, both.
Let me hold them accountable
Yes.
because it's children involved and the children clearly aren't being taken care of because you with me all the time. Like,
Right.
what's going on?
Exactly.
Oh, she not letting you see him. Did you ever go down to the courthouse to get custody of your
Did
child?
he
Like,
ask? Did he ask? Did he make the plans that he needs to make
Yeah.
to see them? I mean,
Read through the
once
lies too,
there you go.
because they love to
There
lie.
you go. Well, I mean, as men, I know for a fact that I've heard a lot of brothers say, well, man, she ain't letting me see them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I mean, now I know that sometimes the court system isn't always as favorable to brothers as much as maybe the way it should be. But at the same
Right.
time, if you want to see your child, you will fight to see
to
your
see
child.
your kid.
Even if that means I gotta meet you and my child at a police station, a pickup or something, and I get them for 2 hours or whatever, and then I bring them back to that point.
Yep, whatever.
Once again,
Figure it out.
I can sit here and I can blame you all day long
Yeah.
that I ain't seen my child. But what did I do?
Right. If
What
y'all
did I
fighting
do?
over coochie and ping ping, more than y'all fighting over them doing right what they need to do for
Right.
themselves.
There you
Like
go.
it's more than that. That's just platonic. That's the basics and go deeper to them. And it's a huge disconnect between men and women because of us not speaking up or us not holding each other accountable.
A lot of times it's what we want in relationships. I think sometimes there are things that you guys see in a relationship, like some things that I think women want in a relationship that sometimes men just don't want or they don't
Very
think
true.
about it.
Yeah,
You know,
very
the
true.
reality is that a lot of us, sometimes women, sometimes some women might really want the relationship. Guys might want the relationship, but we can easily walk away. You know, and let's be honest, we really can. You know, some guys have that mindset. Now, this is not every guy. But some guys have that mindset where they can do that. Once again, hold each other accountable. I love what you said. I don't see you with your kids at all, but you with me all the time.
Right.
Something wrong with that picture. Something's not right. And in relationships, we gotta look for the red tape, the yellow caution joints, the little orange cones that block in the street to keep you from going into the pothole. We see them, but a lot of times
Go around
we
them.
go around. We can
Cone
swerve
in the way.
around
Let me
them.
get a little away from that cone.
Exactly.
Okay, on that
And we
bit.
run into the car.
Yeah.
And then be like,
Okay.
Then you crashed out.
Okay.
Then you would crash out because you ignored it.
It's spooky out here for us men and women. We really do need each other, and we
We do
gotta.
need
I
each
don't even
other.
know like where to start to get us back. I guess working on ourselves. I feel.
Definitely
Yeah,
working on
that's-
yourself
yeah.
first and then
Jeez.
learning how. I feel like with working on yourself will teach you how like to see people as human.
Mhm.
opposite sex
Mhm.
specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, now you've done the work, you've done the healing, you've seen things a little bit differently. So now I can hear you a little bit better
Give you
when
some
you say
grace.
something to me. You know what I mean? I can give you a little bit more grace because I'm coming from a different perspective now. I feel like a lot of stuff is just be like perspectives. Like you
Yeah.
gotta be willing to change the perspective, to change the lens. Like pray, ask God to change your mind, ask God to change your heart, like to change the vision, to change the focus. Like when you so focused or rooted in like this one thing and it's this whole world around you, you know, you lose everything in between. And it's like the in between is what we need to keep us together, the glue. Because like for real, it's like men is from Mars and women is from Venus. We are completely different.
We really
you know what
are.
I'm
We
saying?
think different.
that's
We
true.
Everything
feel
that we
different.
do is
Everything's
different.
different.
And that's okay.
But that's
It's
where we're going
okay.
understanding each other.
Exactly.
I gotta truly understand that, all right, every time Teddy eat this pickle, she gotta open the jar this way. It bothers me and pop my ears, but that's what makes her happy. That's okay. I understand
It's okay.
it.
It's not wrong
It's not
because
wrong.
she choose to do it this way.
That's how she
Doesn't
do
make it
it.
wrong. That's just how she choose to do it.
Yeah.
We think
So
different.
yeah, you know what I mean? You gotta be okay with allowing people to be them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And but still like
positive
loving
way.
them. Yeah. Yeah. As long as it's like no harm done.
Yeah.
Like, but still being able to love them and accept them for doing the things that way. Just because it's not the way that you would do it. It's not wrong. But it's like, okay, cool. I can support that. I can get behind it. Because it's not like detrimental to neither one of us. So I can support that.
It's about learning the person that you're with.
Mhm.
It's about investing that time to give to yourself to learn that person, because you don't know the person. I mean, I can remember early in my marriage, you know, we had just got married, and we lived in the apartment that I was living in when we got married. And I remember my wife sent me to the store, and she needed me to go get something. Okay, fine. On the way to the store, there's a schoolyard over there. Now I see one of my cousins over there, some friends, and he's like, "Hey, yo, man, Gary, you want to play some basketball?" So I go, I shoot like a whole game of basketball. Then
On the way to the
Oh my
store.
God, yes.
Right. Then I went to the store, and then I came
Yeah, I'm
back,
pissed off.
and she gave me that crazy look, like, you got to be kidding me, right? You know. But the point was, I learned that no, I needed to hear what she needed.
Right.
And, you know, now did I always get it right? Of course not.
Absolutely.
But, you know, most of the times I kind of connected, you know? And that's what we have to do. We have to be able to connect.
Yes.
You know?
I think a lot of times, like, nobody wants perfection. People just want effort. I want to know that you at least tried.
Yes.
Like, even if you didn't hit the mark that I needed you to mark, the hit, like, you listened to me and you tried, you attempted. Like, you really tried. You ain't like half-ass doing. You ain't just say you was going to do it and never did it, or you didn't shy away from it because you felt like you were incapable. You tried. And it's just like, I'm sorry, but, you know, this was all I was able to do. It's like, okay, we can work with that.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? From both sides, I think we just want to know that, like, you care enough to, like, try to put the forth effort with men and with women, like both parties. Like,
And like Gary said, some people get 50, some people give 100. I feel like we have to be given the same.
you have to give
amount.
100 every time.
Yeah,
You
you
can't
both
do
have
50-50.
to.
You both have to give 100 every time, or it's not going to work. That's like we've been saying. You whatever you're doing, you got to put 100 in it for it to
You
work.
have to, yes.
And that
do.
includes relationships.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Like, you can't half-ass it, or
Take that
you'll
pride
get
out,
a half-ass
though.
relationship. You gotta
And I
kill
feel
that
like
ego.
And men and women, we always worry about who gonna be one up, or she ain't gonna play me before I play and this and that. It's not always
Trauma.
It's not always that.
That's your damn
It's
trauma.
not always
Go
that. Or you
heal.
might see one little thing from the last
There
person,
you
like,
go.
she gonna get me or this or that, I'm gonna pull back. I'm gonna keep 3 over here just in case. It's just let it go. Like, it's okay with I feel like
Be in the moment. Enjoy the relationship. You racking your head about what could go wrong.
Yes,
Exactly.
women, I feel like we do lead more with emotions, and men are more
Right.
the other
Because we
part.
from two
Yeah.
different places. And I understand that. But we still can respect each other.
Yeah.
We still can try to understand each other and learn each other.
We men,
Yo,
we
gotta
men
wrap
do
this
a
up.
logical thing. Like we will think logically.
Right.
Let's
You
step
know
What makes sense,
yeah,
child.
like, well, no, what makes sense? We're thinking, oh, that doesn't make sense to me. Da da da. And we take the emotion out of it. Now the problem is that when we take the emotion out of it,
There goes the love.
There goes the love. I mean, because there's a reason. I mean, we are built differently, and we're still charged to get to know that part of us that makes us different, and that's where the love
Yes,
comes in at.
yes. What
Yes,
makes
that
us
is the
different? You gotta
love.
love that. Yes, that is very true. That is so true. That is so
We
true.
did that, y'all.
that was good. That was good. Men and women, yo, it's such a disconnect, and the socials don't make it no better. Generational curses don't make it better. Nothing makes it better, but we have to come to the point where we're like, okay, I'm gonna make it better. I'm gonna, give this person, grace, hold this person accountable, and I'm gonna love on this person. I don't need to love
Without
on
conditions.
without the unconditional love.
There you go.
We're not enemies.
Yes,
Like,
that's the
we all
problem.
want the same thing. So act like it. Like,
People don't even love each other unconditional no more. It's all conditions.
it's
What
all
you
what
doing,
I
what
can
you
get,
not
how I
doing.
benefit from it.
Yep, how I benefit. That's a huge thing too. And they take the vulnerability out of it as well. Like everybody
It takes everything out of it. Nobody wants to be vulnerable because nobody want to get hurt. But then you can't have a real relationship if you like try not to get hurt. Like you're going to get hurt.
You're gonna feel some pain sometimes.
Yes,
But the pain doesn't have to be pain that's traumatic,
right?
you, beating you down.
Yes,
Pain. It just
yes,
means that
yes.
There could be disappointment.
Yeah, you could just have hurt my
Yes.
feelings with
Yep,
something you said or how you said it, or you went to watch the damn basketball game. I told your ass to go to the
Okay.
store.
Oh no, I played. I was in the game. I was
you
playing.
went to go play.
Yeah.
You stood around waiting for winners, then got on the court. Child, I am upset, but that don't mean.
Can I tell you that logically though? That was what I normally did before I got married. I come home and I would go.
So
to the
you
store
just
and get
doing
me
what
some-
you regularly
the adjustment
do.
of change is another thing that we really struggle with,
Yes.
like having a baby.
Yeah.
Things have to change. You can't just do what you was doing. You do have to change a lot of
Yes.
things. And I feel like 100 men, moms and dads, we both have to change. We both have to get that 100% into the change. It's okay that you can't go do this, that. You have to put your child first. You can't do the same thing.
True.
It's not going to work. And guess what? It's not going to be forever because that child grows up and then you can do your thing. Or y'all take turns. Like, you know what I'm saying? If y'all not together,
Make
this
it
weekend,
easy
your
for
weekend,
y'all.
do
Figure out
your
how it
thing.
works.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Today's child
can't do it without
today's
communication.
child might be 2,
Right.
but then in 10 years that child's going to be 12,
Right.
and there's different things you can do.
We
And
gotta
then
wrap this up, y'all.
they're gonna
We over
be-
time.
oh yeah, then it's going to be 18, and you gotta live your life. So,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Gary.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
Thank
We
you,
always
guys.
hit them points and had these hard conversations, uncomfortable conversations, and we hopefully making it make sense for y'all
Right.
as we making it make sense for us.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Learning as
Thank
we
you.
are going.
Oh,
My
Surviving Today LLC is where you can find Mr.
Yes,
Gary.
we'll
Right?
always be
Yes.
tagged. We'll always tag them in there and everything. Y'all gotta reach out, guys. Y'all have to reach out. If you hearing this and you just, you get curious about therapy, reach out. Reach out.
It's okay to get help. It's
It's
okay.
okay.
None of us are 100% put together, and we all have our flaws and we all have our weaknesses.
Yep.
Just get the help that you need.
Right. Talk to somebody. And be aware of how that person is responding. If it's a lot of negative stuff coming from your reach out to someone, then maybe that person is not the person to be talking
Try
to.
somebody else. That don't mean give up. That just means try somebody else.
Try somebody else.
Exactly.
So.
Well, that's the end of another great episode.
Yes, guys, it was beautiful.
Yes.
Any blessings in disguise? This was blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
for
that
me.
men
This
and
was-
women
this-
meet each other,
Yes, very
and it's okay to
therapeutic
cry in front of Kobe.
Yes.
Cry on.
So cheers to another
cheers
episode.
on coffee. We have no wine this time, guys, but
Cheers.
next time. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.